Hey everybody, how is it going today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk about NETLIST Incorporated, ticker symbol NLST. Today's price action is a little unexpected. It's a little bit more bullish than I was anticipating, so I want to get into their chart and let you know what I think could be happening next. And then after that, I want to get into these Bitcoin-related stocks. Their chart patterns are also starting to look bullish as well. Now, if you're new to my channel, I have been trading and investing for over 20 years, and in each video I will show you trades that I see setting up right now. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any future trading and investing ideas. And also, if you would like to support the channel and become part of our Patreon community and see what we are buying and selling in real time for a measly $10 a month, that link is in the description. All right, so let's get into these charts of NETLIST Incorporated, ticker symbol NLST. But before I get started, if you don't mind doing me a small favor and liking the smash button for me, help me out with the YouTube algorithm, I would really appreciate that. But please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just trying to show you the price action that I'm currently seeing. All of this is just my opinion. Please make all of your own trading decisions. But with all that being said, let's get into this chart. This is the daily chart of NETLIST Incorporated, and as we can see, the range is really starting to tighten up in NETLIST. I really didn't expect this to happen. I was going to do a video yesterday, but I ran out of time, and with yesterday's price action, I actually expected some more follow-through to the downside. I was kind of expecting a retest of this purple line, this 21-period exponential moving average, maybe coming down here to about right around $7 or so, but man, we are not getting that. It is tightening up pretty nicely, and of course, that is a great sign if you are long this stock, because that means that the volatility is starting to come out, and normally when the volatility comes out, that's when the stock starts to rise again. When the price action gets really choppy, that means that there's a big, tug of war going on with the buyers and sellers, because a lot of sellers have stepped in. But man, this is a pretty decent day that it's having so far. And actually, if we go to the 15-minute chart, I'll show you a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But if we look at the rise that it had all the way up, you can see how the price action is pretty tight on the way up. You know how they like to say price climbs a wall of worry, and it tends to be really choppy when it starts to sell off. And that's exactly what you're seeing in this chart. But man, this thing is really starting to tighten up. I just expected a little bit more follow through to the downside. But the way that this price action is shaping up, kind of half expecting this thing to continue with a rounded bottom type of formation, then a breakout to the upside. And with all the the good news that's surrounding this stock and the good rumors that are surrounding this stock, I don't doubt it one bit. I mean, there could be a lot of buyers stepping in right now, shoring up this price action. But man, just really, really nice price action so far. You got this big green candle that came in a few days ago, and that's when it had that big move off of the bottom, right off of that 21-period exponential moving average. And if we go back to the daily chart real quick, let me get these things off here. If I can get my mouse to work. There we go. Man, this thing is, I didn't expect it to tighten up this fast, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing breaks. But if it continues to stay tight for another day or so, I would expect the breakout to be to the upside. And a pullback like this with a move to the upside this fast right afterwards is actually pretty rare when you see this much volatility come into the market. But man, it could be what is going to happen, because there is a lot of enthusiasm surrounding this chart. If you guys ended up buying any of this stock on the pullback, let me know where you got it at. Were you waiting down here at this purple line, or were you buying it at the right around this 8-period exponential moving average, or someplace in between? And what price targets do you guys have on this? Because if this thing breaks to the upside again, I mean, this thing can get going up in a hurry. And I'm kind of curious where I would like to get out of this, because if this thing just really starts screaming, I don't want to be the last one at the party when all the booze is gone. I want to be selling it on the way up. But let me know your opinion down there, if you expect a little bit more downside, or if you expect this thing to continue trending up. But the way this price action is starting to shape up, and there's still time left in this trading day. So I mean, if we get some volatility to the downside, that pretty much negates this tight day. And it could happen. At the end of the day is when a lot of volume does tend to come in the market. But the way this thing is shaping up, I kind of expect it to go sideways a little bit longer, and that is good news for NETLIST. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the NASDAQ, and right here I have the QQQ, which of course is the NASDAQ ETF. In yesterday's video, I talked a little bit about how the NASDAQ was down big on above average volume. On these volume bars right here, I have this white line is the average of the last 50 days. So when the volume is above the average of the last 50 days, that's when I tend to pay attention a little bit more, especially on down days. But when this happens, you tend to get some follow through to the downside, and actually today is playing out perfectly for what I wanted. I was hoping the day it was going to be up a little bit today, but not a huge up day in order for me to take this position to the downside. I actually bought some shares of the SQQQ, which is the NASDAQ triple inverted ETF. So it's the triple bear. So if the market goes down, this will go up by 3 times the amount that the market goes down. So, but these type of funds, you don't want to be holding them for too long because they are meant to lose value every single day. And the only time they gain value is, of course, when the market goes down big. But what I want to talk about as far as that goes is usually when you have a big down day on above average volume, you tend to get some follow through to the downside. It doesn't happen every single time. Nothing in trading works every single time, but more often than not, this type of thing happens. So when this happens, I like to grab an inverted ETF or just buy some puts on the Qs to just kind of protect myself a little bit to the downside. So if you do get a bunch of down movement in the market, you can make a little bit on this and kind of hedge your other positions. Hopefully I'm wrong because I have a lot more longs in the market. So if I'm wrong, I'll just take this small loss and it'll be offset by the other ones hopefully going up. But if you look at this day right here, here's a day that I'm talking about. We had a big down day on above average volume, and just a couple days later you can see that we were lower in the market. Like here's another day right here. We had a down day on above average volume, and you can see there was a lot more movement to the downside in the next couple of weeks or so. Another day would be right here. Right here we had a big down day on above average volume. Took a couple of days for it to get going down, but eventually you did get that follow through to the downside. Here is a day right here where it did not work. We can see had a down day, had a pretty decent sized reversal. But you can see the next day we had a pretty big move to the upside. And in yesterday's video, I talked about when you get kind of a big up day like this, the next day, that's when I do not take a position to the short side. I'll kind of give it a few more days to see how it plays off. And you can see that it had some follow through to the upside. Like here is another day right here. This day I probably would not have taken it because you had a big gap down, but it just traded the rest of the day up. So that is the day when I would not take it. Here is a day where I would consider it because it was on above average volume, and then you had some follow through to the downside. So I think today is the perfect day to be taking a little bit of a short position in the market, at least for me, to offer some downside protection to my other positions. I'm not saying this is going to be the end of the bull run or there's going to be a massive move down. This is just I'm anticipating at least a downward movement in the market happening in the next couple of days or so. It doesn't necessarily have to be a huge one, but if it does, I should make a little bit of money on the downside. And if it's a huge move down, this position will make out well, but my other positions are probably going to get clipped pretty good. But let me show you the one that I took a position in. It's just the SQQQ. And I'm in at this one at $8.25, I believe. So basically right where it's at right now. So if this thing breaks below, I don't know, I guess I'll call it 8. Maybe I'll give it a little bit more leeway. I'll give it down to 8 or so. If it breaks below 8, I'll just close the position, take my small loss, and hopefully that'll be more than offset by my other long positions. But I just wanted to talk about that position that I was taking in the market. And let me actually go back to the QQQs and show you something else that's interesting. If we go to the 15-minute chart right here, let me back it out a little bit. We can see that the Qs are in a bearish megaphone pattern right now, and it looks like the way these patterns usually shape out, usually get some more movement to the downside, and the downside target will be this lower trend line. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to go down that far, but this is another reason why I want to take that short position, because this is a bearish megaphone pattern, and you can see these ones usually get pretty wide. So I mean, if it does come all the way down here and touch this lower trend line, that short position should appreciate pretty well, but probably my other positions are going to get thwacked. But just wanted to show you that position. Let's get into some other stocks. All right, well, before I close the video, I just want to talk about those Bitcoin mining related stocks that I talked about a couple of videos ago. These things are actually holding up a little bit better than I thought. We can see that this right here is MicroStrategy, and they are holding that gap up and staying in a pretty tight range. So if this thing can continue going sideways till those moving averages catch up, we could have another blast higher in MicroStrategy. I didn't think it was going to be holding this gap up this well, but so far so good for MicroStrategy. If we go to the 15-minute chart, you can see it a little bit easier. This range is getting pretty tight here. So that is good news if you are long this stock, and that bodes well for a potential break to the upside. Another one I want to talk about was BTBT. This one had a big up day. And wow, still got my chicken scratch on here. Let me get rid of this real quick. But you can see BTBT is still holding this gap up, and this thing has gapped around quite a bit. Let me go back to the daily chart. Actually, when I looked at this earlier, it was closer to $9 a share, so it's actually selling off as I'm making this video. I thought it was looking super bullish, but you can still see a bunch of volume that's coming in today. You had that big move down yesterday on actually quite tepid volume, but the volume moved back into the stock, and it was holding up pretty well, so we'll have to see where it closes the rest of the day at. If it can close near the high of the day, I think that's going to be super bullish for BTBT for a possible continuation to the upside. Another one was RIOT. Let's see how RIOT's doing. RIOT's holding that gap up as well, again, hanging out in a tight range. So RIOT blockchain, I think that one is looking pretty bullish at the moment. And the other one was Mara. I'm expecting the same thing from Mara, and that's pretty much how it's working. So, I mean, if you guys are looking into these Bitcoin-related stocks, I think they are shaping up nicely for a potential continuation move higher. These things have been trending down for a little while, so I mean, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if these things start coming back into favor, especially since the coins they look like they are holding their uptrend. So, I was hoping the coins were going to go down a little bit lower so I could accumulate some, but unfortunately I might have to pay a higher price because they did not come down to the target that I was waiting for as of yet. Okay everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care everybody.